The United States offers a diverse range of landscapes that can capture anyone's heart. But before you get too caught up in the excitement of buying land, there are 10 essential things you must know. So put down that mortgage calculator and listen up, because today we're going to go over 10 things you need to know before buying land. Number 10. Zoning laws. When it comes to buying land in America, zoning laws are one of the most critical factors to consider. They can greatly impact what you're allowed to do with the land, from building a home to starting a business. Zoning laws dictate the type of land use, such as residential, commercial, or industrial, and they can vary greatly from one area to another. For example, if you're planning on building a home, you'll need to ensure that the land is zoned for residential use. If the land is zoned for commercial use, you won't be able to build a house on it. On the other hand, if you're planning on starting a business, you'll need to make sure that the land is zoned for commercial use. Additionally, zoning laws can dictate how you're allowed to use the land. For instance, there may be restrictions on the height of buildings, the types of businesses that can be operated, or the number of parking spaces required. Before you make any decisions, it's crucial to understand what type of zoning your land has and what you're allowed to do with it. So it's best to consult with a real estate attorney or a zoning specialist. They can help you navigate the complex regulations and provide guidance on any potential roadblocks. Number 9. Location. Location's a crucial factor to consider when buying land because it can greatly impact your investment. The location of the land can affect everything from its value to its potential uses. Therefore, it's important to consider several factors before making a purchase. One important consideration is the proximity to essential amenities such as schools, stores, and hospitals. If you're planning to build a home, you'll want to ensure that your family has easy access to quality schools, grocery stores, and medical facilities. Additionally, proximity to public transportation or major highways may also be important for ease of commuting. Another essential consideration is the safety of the area. Research the crime rates and take note of any safety concerns in the surrounding neighborhoods. Even if the land itself is in a safe area, you'll want to make sure the surrounding area is safe as well. Number 8. Accessibility. Accessibility is an important factor that should not be overlooked when it comes to buying land. The ease of accessing the property can significantly impact its value and potential uses. Therefore, it's essential to consider several factors before making a purchase. One critical factor to consider is whether there's a road leading to the property. Access to the land can greatly impact its potential uses, whether you're planning to build a home or start a business. If the land is inaccessible, it can significantly impact the value and potential uses of the property. Additionally, consider whether public transportation is available nearby. Proximity to public transportation can make the property more desirable, especially for businesses that rely on foot traffic or employees who rely on public transportation to get to work. Number 7. Natural disasters. Natural disasters, such as hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, and wildfires, can occur in various parts of the country and can significantly affect your investment. If you're looking to purchase land in an area prone to natural disasters, it's crucial to understand the risks involved. For instance, if you're purchasing land in a coastal area, you may be at risk of hurricanes and flooding. Similarly, if you're purchasing land in an area with a history of wildfires, you may need to consider the risk of wildfire damage. One way to assess the risk of natural disasters is to find out the history of the area. This includes studying the frequency and severity of past disasters and determining the likelihood of future events. You can also consult with local authorities and emergency management agencies to gather information about the risk of natural disasters in the area. This way, you're sure of the type of land you're buying and if it's safe from natural disasters. Number 6. Soil quality. When considering buying land, soil quality is a critical factor to consider, especially if you plan to use the land for farming, gardening, or other agricultural activities. Soil quality affects the nutrients and water that plants receive, ultimately impacting the success of your crops. Different areas have different types of soil, and some types are more suitable for agricultural activities than others. Soil quality is influenced by various factors, including the climate, vegetation, topography, and geological history of the area. Some areas may have soil that's too rocky, sandy, or clay-heavy to support farming or gardening activities. To determine the quality of the soil, it's advisable to hire a soil testing company. This involves analyzing the composition and fertility of the soil to determine its suitability for various agricultural activities. The soil testing company will provide a report that includes information such as the soil's pH level, nutrient content, and texture. So if you plan to use the land for agriculture, the soil testing report can help you determine what type of crops will grow best on the land. It can also help you make informed decisions about the type and amount of fertilizers and other soil amendments you may need to improve the soil's quality. Number 5. Water source. Water is a critical resource for any kind of development, whether you plan to build a home or start a business on the land. Before purchasing the land, it's important to find out the availability of a water source in the area. Look for nearby lakes, rivers, or streams that could potentially provide a water supply. If there are no natural water sources in the area, consider drilling a well on the property. However, it's important to note that drilling a well can be costly, so it's essential to factor in this expense when considering the overall cost of the land. In addition to the availability of a water source, it's important to consider the quality of the water and test the quality of the water to ensure that it's safe for personal or commercial use if the land is located in an area with high levels of pollution or contamination. Number 4. Easements and right-of-ways. Another factor to consider is any existing easements or right-of-ways that could affect your use of the property. Easements and right-of-ways are legal agreements that allow others to use your land for specific purposes. This means that even if you own the land, you may not have complete control over it. One common example of an easement is a utility easement, which allows utility companies to access your land to install and maintain power lines, water lines, or other necessary infrastructure. While this may not seem like a significant issue, it's necessary to understand the extent of the easement and how it may affect your use of the land. Another example of an easement is a right-of-way, which provides access to a neighboring property through your land. This could be a road or a path that leads to another property. While it may not impact your use of the land significantly, it's essential to understand who has the right-of-way and how it may affect your privacy or ability to develop the land. Number 3. Environmental concerns. Environmental concerns are a crucial aspect that should not be overlooked when buying land in America. In addition to the concerns mentioned earlier, there are other potential environmental issues that can impact the value and use of the land. For example, endangered species can have a significant impact on the development and use of the land. If the land is home to endangered species, there may be restrictions on how the land can be used or developed. You should research the area to determine if any endangered species live in the vicinity of the land you're considering. Another important consideration is air quality. Air pollution from nearby factories or traffic can reduce the value of the land and impact the health of those who live or work on the property. Noise pollution is another potential environmental concern. If the land's located near busy roads, train tracks, or airports, there may be noise pollution that can impact the use and value of the property. So before you purchase any land, it's important to look into the environmental concerns. Number 2. Building codes and permits. Building codes and permits are an essential aspect to consider when buying land in America. These regulations help ensure that buildings are safe, structurally sound, and meet certain standards. Failure to comply with building codes and permit requirements can result in costly fines, legal issues, and even the demolition of the building. Before buying land, you should research the building codes and permit requirements for the area. These requirements can vary depending on the location, type of building, and intended use of the property. It's necessary to ensure that your plans for the land comply with these regulations. One of the first steps in obtaining a building permit is to submit your plans to the local building department. This department will review your plans and ensure they comply with building codes. The process can take several weeks or even months, depending on the complexity of the project and the workload of the building department. Once your plans are approved, you can begin the construction process. And finally, number 1, cost. When it comes to buying land, the cost is one of the most important factors to consider. You should take into account the purchase price of the land, as well as any additional costs that come with owning it, such as property taxes and homeowner association fees. It's also important to factor in the cost of any improvements you plan to make to the land, such as building a house, installing utilities, or landscaping. Make sure you have a realistic budget for these improvements and that you can afford them before making a purchase. In addition, you should consider the overall real estate market in the area. Is the land priced competitively compared to similar properties? Is the area up and coming or declining? These factors can have an impact on the value of the land in the future. Buying land is a very obtainable goal to achieve. And now that you're aware of these 10 crucial facts, in this other video, we give you 10 places in America where you can get land for, get this, totally free. See you then.